Hi, I'm Len Rio, President here at the Attivo Group, and in this short presentation we'll be discussing how the Attivo private cloud works and how we're able to achieve some of the highest levels of security available today for your business systems. Security starts with the right data center partner. We're partnered with CloudTrek and Switch.com using the Switch.com data center located in Las Vegas, Nevada. In addition to being a state-of-the-art Tier 5 data center from a physical security standpoint, Switch is utilizing extremely effective defense mechanisms to virtually eliminate any cyber attacks to your systems from the outside. The internet is full of automated bad guys trying to find entry points to someone's system like yours or mine. Switch has also achieved and maintained all of the available data center security certifications, as you can see on this slide, and all of the audit reports are available upon request. A little bit of terminology should be explained here. Firewall, as we all know and love, is one of those, and at Switch.com we are using FortiGate industrial strength firewalls allowing access only from secure services. A secure service request example is a web request that begins with HTTPS. The S designation means that the requesting web service has a security certificate from a domain registrar such as Network Solutions or GoDaddy confirming that it is legitimate. Think of this as the gate at the entrance of the neighborhood. There's a guard there and you can't get in if you're not invited. Then there's the gateway. This is a Windows server running an application called Remote Desktop Gateway Services. And this is where the users must first log in and authenticate to access cloud resources. Think of this as the front door of the house. So after they've made it through the front gate or the firewall. Then there's the domain controller and Active Directory. This is a separate Windows server running Microsoft Domain Controller and Active Directory services. So you may have made it into the neighborhood and someone opened the front door, but if you're not on the list, you're not getting into the party. So this is the point where we immediately deactivate a user when you notify us that you have terminated an employee. Then there's the IIS, or Internet Information Services and Applications server. This is also a separate Windows server that is used to serve the applications that require web services such as Synergy Enterprises. And then there's the Remote Desktop Server, or RDS, the Windows server running Microsoft Desktop Services, of which there are several types: RDP, RDWEB, and HTML5. We're going to discuss each of these in upcoming slides. Application software is launched from here. And so this is your desktop in the cloud where most of the work gets done. Not pictured here is a SQL server, and this is a separate Windows server running Microsoft SQL Server to manage the databases. The diagram that you're seeing now shows how your systems and data are securely managed. There are only two servers that are open to the internet, both of them a green color here, and that's the IIS server, which is the web server for applications such as Synergy, and the gateway server. These two servers protect the terminal server, where programs are actually running, and the database server, where the data is stored. Even the domain controller is protected by the gateway server. So beyond the redundant firewalls that protect your systems, we have the gateway servers, and we're using Microsoft RDWEB and HTML5 remote access methods to securely publish the various applications you may be hosting. Now, these collections of apps, based on your security groups, can vary within your organization. And the purpose of this is to ensure that users have exactly what each person needs and only what each person needs. We are not using remote desktop services or RDP, as this is older technology that is less secure. And a VPN will be created only if there's a specific requirement where we can whitelist the connected endpoints. So Internet Information Services and web services are used to allow access to internal file shares or share drives should you choose to also host your loose files or your LMP drive, whatever you might call it, and at your company that you're using for loose file storage. So how do you actually access the Attivo cloud? As I mentioned, we're providing both RDWEB and HTML5 remote access methods. So the gateway server is accessed by a web browser, your choice of browser, and there's nothing to be installed on the workstation, on your local workstation. So there's no internal IT assistance necessary whatsoever. A connection to the terminal server is made from the gateway server, and this is where the user login and password is authenticated. When using RDWEB, an RDP file is downloaded to your workstation and launched. The connection between your workstation and the terminal server is securely managed by the gateway server. The user sees a visual display of the application running on the cloud. The application is not running on the local workstation. And when using HTML5, which is the latest Microsoft remote access technology, there is no RDP download, and all processing is taking place only within the browser. And because nothing happens at the workstation, this is a great interface for PC workstations as well as tablets, kiosks, MacBooks, Chromebooks, iPads, and even smartphones. So this is the user experience when accessing the Attivo cloud when using the RDWEB interface. Once you sign in, you're presented with whatever collection of applications that have been assigned to you. From there, you click an icon and launch an application. Note that the applications served from the cloud open in full screen, but they can be minimized. And note also that the local workstation applications appear at the bottom of the screen. So any applications that are being served from the cloud also appear there, but have a slightly different icon as compared to the same application if launched locally. And this is the user experience when accessing the Attivo cloud when using the HTML5 interface. As you notice, it looks a little more modern, and once you sign in, again, you're presented with whatever collection of applications that have been assigned to you, and from there you click an icon and launch an application. So these applications also open in full screen but can be minimized. And note also that the local workstation applications are appearing at the bottom of the screen. However, you can have multiple cloud applications open in different tabs which appear at the top of the screen and then easily switch between those applications by clicking on those icons. For those of you who have used remote desktop services, you're probably aware that the user experience with RDP is not optimal. It opens as a full window with a blue ribbon up top and hides all the available icons on the local workstation. But more importantly, RDP is older technology that has security vulnerabilities that we can avoid. When managing your cloud resources, we take great care in the way we access your servers to limit security exposure. One of the primary ways that we do this is that only ConnectWise remote management technology is permitted to be used for access to your servers. This requires multi-factor authentication and logs all the server activity performed on your servers in a detailed audit trail report. VPN, or virtual private network technology, is typically not necessary, as we can see on this slide. First of all, logging on to a VPN is another step in the process for the end user. And performance is not optimal with a VPN for normal transacting compared to RDWEB or HTML5. And there are better alternatives for synchronizing Active Directory, creating cloud file server access, and allowing applications to connect directly to your database. So VPN is something that we typically do not do, only because of the vulnerability and the slowness of the technology. And finally, with the Attivo dedicated cloud, we're handling all of the backup necessary for your systems. So your data, and that's your SQL data or file share data, is backed up nightly. SQL transaction logs are backed up every hour, so you could never lose more than 1 hour of your data. Server snapshots, which are complete images that can be restored to new hardware, are kept in the event of a data center problem, but aren't even necessary due to the failover capability of the local server infrastructure. But it is part of disaster recovery, so that's the reason why we have them. Now, all of this is kept at the Switch.com data center in Las Vegas for a 28-day rotation. Now, in terms of disaster recovery, these same data and server snapshot backups are backed up to a separate data center in Irvine, California for a 14-day rotation in the event that something catastrophic happened to the data center in Las Vegas. Your servers can be redeployed, your data attached, and 4 to 8 hours later, you would be operational again in the same way you were at the Las Vegas data center. An optional service called Shadow Copy is also available. Now, this can be enabled to maintain multiple versions of individual files within a file share, providing for version control and restoration to a previous version of a Word doc, for instance, something that was accidentally deleted. We can also provide a daily download of your data to a OneDrive or Dropbox if you would like, and that's also available at no additional cost. So I'd like to thank you for paying attention to this short video, which was fairly technical, and we appreciate you doing so. If you'd like to learn more, the contact information is here on this slide. Thank you again.